Welcome back to New Change in the Map, an ongoing series where we discuss geopolitical changes on the world map, whether a new capital city or a new international border. This episode is about a change that technically hasn't happened yet, but is very likely going to happen soon due to current events. There are several unrecognized nations around the world, and some of them, despite being unrecognized, are partially recognized enough to where they do indeed often appear on maps, whether it's Western Sahara, Somaliland, Kosovo, or Taiwan. In the Caucasus region, there is one such mostly unrecognized nation that calls themselves the Republic of Artsakh, and is known by others as Nagorno-Karabakh. Usually it's indicated with disputed border lines on many maps. Due to current events, Artsakh is likely to be completely annexed by Azerbaijan after nearly 32 years of attempted independence. To sum up its history, the Nagorno-Karabakh region has historically had high Armenian population. Across the 19th century, the Russian Empire took over the entire Caucasus region, and like other European imperial powers cared very little about having boundaries correspond with ethnic ones. In the 1910s, there was a time of chaos for Armenians where they were facing not only a genocide in the Ottoman Empire, but also trying to get independence from the Russian Empire, which put them at odds with the Turkic population in Azerbaijan. The areas of Artsakh and Nakhchivan in particular would be heavily disputed between the two. Eventually, the Bolsheviks would conquer the Caucasus and incorporate Armenia into the Soviet Union. While the Soviet Union was a little better at drawing ethnic boundaries, it still created a lot of problems. They ultimately gave both Nakhchivan and Artsakh to the Azerbaijani Soviet Socialist Republic. While the Soviets were there, Armenia could do very little, but tensions brewed. As the Soviet Union fell apart, many breakaway nations formed between 1990 and 1991, including Armenia and Azerbaijan in late 1991. Nakhchivan by the 1990s had gone from a mixed region to being mostly Azerbaijani. However, the Nagorno-Karabakh region was still majority Armenian. So during the chaos of the Soviet collapse, Nagorno-Karabakh also declared independence as the Republic of Artsakh. However, Azerbaijan did not wish to lose such territory, so full-scale war broke out in 1992, known as the First Nagorno-Karabakh War. Although there had been some small-scale fighting since the late 80s, so some would say it began then, but either way, in 1992 it was full-scale war. The war resulted in Armenia and Artsakh largely defeating Azerbaijan, and by the 1994 ceasefire, Artsakh, despite losing some border regions, was no longer landlocked and now connected to Armenia. By the way, I have a link to an animated map of the war in the description if you're interested. However, despite the results of the First War, it was not over. Armenia, due to complicated diplomatic reasons, could not simply annex Artsakh without causing bigger problems, but at the very least it could militarily support it. In addition, Armenia would grow closer to Russia for security protection, while Azerbaijan in turn would grow closer to Armenia's historical enemies of Turkey and Iran. Things were mostly quiet for the next few years until 2020 when a second Nagorno-Karabakh war broke out. This time it was much shorter and overall a reversal of the first war. Azerbaijan overran Armenian forces and was able to occupy even more of Artsakh, all within 2 months. Yes, I have an animated map on that war too. The end result of this war meant Artsakh was now landlocked again and much weaker. To address concerns about this, Russia agreed to send peacekeeper forces to the region to prevent another war. They also established what was called the Lock-in Corridor, an area they would occupy to guarantee safe passage for Armenians in the two states to travel to each other. So, as long as Russia wouldn't be distracted by a bigger conflict, peace would at least be enforced. So in 2022, Russia got distracted by a bigger conflict when they decided to invade Ukraine, and during this time Azerbaijan clashed with Armenia on their border, resulting in Azerbaijan taking tiny border territories. Despite being under Russia's protection, Russia didn't do much. Then, due to likely feeling emboldened, on September 19th of 2023, Azerbaijan announced that they were taking, quote, anti-terrorist measures to restore the constitutional structure of Azerbaijan. And then they invaded Artsakh. They basically ignored the Russian peacekeepers, although some became casualties anyway, who basically did nothing as Azerbaijani forces within less than 24 hours took several territories. Armenia was unable to help. So Artsakh on the 20th agreed to a ceasefire. Before you ask, yes, I'll have a map video on that by next week. The result of this third major conflict was that Artsakh agreed to disarm themselves and enter into talks for being reintegrated into Azerbaijan. The talks are currently ongoing, so it's hard to say when this will happen. There are also concerns of ethnic cleansing in the region, which given Armenian history is a very understandable concern. As of the time writing this video, over 13,000 Armenians, or around 10% of Artsakh's total population, has already fled to Armenia. If there is somehow an unexpected change in Artsakh's fate, then I'll have an update episode in this series, but for now, Artsakh's end as an independent republic appears to be certain.